Hello, welcome to Forward Boldly. I'm your host, Christine Niles, and in collaboration with Regina Magazine, I present this short conversation with Sequoia Sierra, the style and fashion editor for Regina Magazine. A devout Catholic working in the fashion industry in LA, Sequoia has some insights into presentation, style, and authentic beauty that we Catholic women can learn from. So Sequoia, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Christine. My pleasure.
All right, so tell us a bit about how you got into the fashion industry. Is this something that you have always wanted to do?
Yes, I always had a love and a passion for fashion, and I'd help friends and give them advice or family members. But it started off with kind of growing up in that element because my mother is a hair extension specialist and a lot of her clientele have been celebrities. So just kind of growing up in that environment, I think, was a part of it too, and an influence in always knowing what was in style and what was vogue at the time, basically. But then later on, I actually went to acting school, to Hollywood Acting Studio, actually, which is a Catholic acting academy. I did a lot of acting and production kind of work. And then I realized, as I got more into working in the industry, that there was the possibility of combining my love of fashion and film, because up to that point, they were kind of separate for me. So then I realized that as a costume designer, I could do both. So that's kind of how I fell into doing costume design.
So do you think, is it difficult as a faithful Catholic working in the fashion industry in LA?
A lot of the industry that I work with, even though it does cover fashion, it's usually with private individuals when it comes to designing something for them or styling a client. So even though I'll go to sometimes like LA Fashion Week or things like that, I don't have to work with that part of the industry as much, especially since so much of it is based in New York. But I do work a lot more with the film industries. And yeah, sometimes that can be hard. And it can be really difficult, especially when you're on set, because you're surrounded by a bunch of people who, don't have the same beliefs or values as you do. But I've noticed that a lot of people tend to have a lot of respect opposed to ostracizing me, which has been really nice. On set, everybody swears like a sailor, and I don't. And I've noticed, when I'm around, the guys will not say certain things because I'm there. And it's not like, oh, Sequoia's here, so we have to be all straight-laced. But it's just out of respect. So it's nice. So in a way, I'm able to kind of help and influence them.
Oh, good. So they then are aware of your faith and where you stand on things?
Yes. I don't go and arrive on set and like, hey, everybody, I'm Catholic. I just, I just do my thing. And when we're on set and we're eating, I cross myself and I give grace, and I'm not swearing, and I don't dress the way some people do sometimes on set just because, I don't feel comfortable wearing that. Like a lot of people, and even costume designers, when they're on set, they'll wear, jeans and like a little tank top. But for me, I'm like, well, I just have never grown up doing that, being raised in a big part by sisters, religious sisters in a way. So we had to be very professional looking and classy. And so I'm just used to that. So that has an impact on them because it causes them, when you dress a certain way, it informs your own self and how you comport yourself and your demeanor, but it also informs others of who you are and how you are to be treated. So I think that's why they tend to give a lot of respect to me, because I ask for that in the way I dress and present myself.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Just speaking as someone who's just so accustomed to seeing people, especially women, just walking around in unisex clothing, just tank tops, shorts, whatever. It's always so refreshing when you come across someone who's dressed in a dignified and feminine manner, because it's so rare, And I think even people who dress in common clothes, to them, it's probably refreshing too.
Yeah, and I've had that told to me, actually. There was one actor on set where he's like, oh, it's so nice to see somebody dressed up. He's like, I wish all the other ladies around here would dress up. That it's refreshing, because in a way it's a sign of respect for other people around you as well, that you took the time to present yourself and to look nice, so you're not like an eyesore or something. Right.
And also you're elevating the dignity of dress in general, and I think it makes other people feel, in a sense, a desire to improve their appearance too. I've noticed that, in my own life, that you get one person who
Yes.
goes against the grain. They decide to dress in a way that's dignified instead of dressing down like everybody else. And then everyone else kind of feels almost the desire, the tug to start, improving their game as well. And then they start dressing a little better too, putting a little more effort into it.
Yeah, exactly. And the power of example is the most important because, like I said, I'm not there telling them, like, oh, well, you shouldn't dress like that because you look awful, or hey, I'm Catholic, or this or that. I'm like, no, I'm just going to be who I am authentically. I'm not going to hide it. I'm not going to, try and hide me making the sign of the cross or giving grace. I'll just do it discreetly, but those kinds of things. And that's why it has an impact because they're like, oh, well, that's interesting.
Right, right. And I've seen it happen at
So,
Mass too. I mean, the way some people dress at Mass these days is just kind of outrageous. But then you get that one person who goes there,
yeah.
whether it's a man or a woman, they decide, I'm going to dress in a way that's appropriate and fitting to the dignity of the sacred mystery and of the holy sacrifice of the Mass. Then other people take notice, and then all of a sudden you
Exactly.
start seeing them dressing up a little bit better. Now, Beverly Stevens, of course, as you know, the founder and editor-in-chief of Regina Magazine,
Yeah.
she's also a really good friend of mine. We have both said that we are on a crusade against frump. and, and there's a debate among Catholic women
Yes,
today
absolutely.
on the issue of modesty. And some Catholic laywomen seem to think that you have to dress up like the Amish. You have to be covered from head to toe in frumpy, shapeless potato sacks. God forbid you wear lipstick or high heels. But then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got women who have just no consideration at all for dignity and dress. They wear totally inappropriate, skimpy clothing, sometimes even in Mass. Now, in your opinion, how can Catholic women exemplify beauty in their appearance? What, in your opinion, is beautiful?
Right. Well, I think with beauty, a lot of the Catholic side who are on the modest camp of things, they have a very skewed view that's been very influenced by Puritanism. So they don't have the Catholic view of the body or the Catholic view of beauty. Our Catholic faith teaches that these are good and beautiful things. They're not something to be ashamed of or to hide, where you need to wear a Puritan Quaker outfit or like a burqa. That's the opposite of modesty because it's saying that your body's bad. It's saying that it's evil, which it's not. And I think a lot of people, they tend to go that way where it's like, oh no, a woman's curves, it's almost like it's something you need to be ashamed of. It's shameful if you're beautiful, and that's completely false. As far as true beauty, it's to highlight the individual so that when you're dressing, you are not hiding who you are, but you're reverencing it. So that you're dressed in a way that is attractive, but that's not slutty or seductive. There's a difference where a woman should still be beautiful and attractive looking, but it doesn't mean she has to be seductive. So clothes can be fitted, not painted on, but should be fitted. You should see that, oh, this is a woman, it's not a man in a bag.
Right.
So I think that, they kind of have to shift that. And same with clothing and the types of fabrics. You can wear things that are of a beautiful fabric. It doesn't have to be a cheap thing. If somebody's being very extravagant and spending, thousands and thousands of dollars on clothing, that's probably pretty vain. But it doesn't mean like you shouldn't buy high quality items or you shouldn't try to buy things that are aesthetically beautiful, because there's something about when somebody's dressed beautifully that's very attractive. And I think that we could really use that as a very strong tool to evangelize because people are going to be attracted to you instead of, oh, I don't want to be around those weird Amish looking people because they're just odd. Whereas if you're dressed beautifully, it's something that's inviting and their curiosities tapped into and they want to know more about you.
Right.
So,
Right. You have in the past promoted a public figure like Kate Middleton as a good example of someone who is beautiful.
yeah.
She dresses in a dignified way and she presents herself very well. In your opinion, what is she doing right and what can we as women do in following her lead?
Yes, and just as a disclaimer, because I know there's always a lot of people who are like, oh, well, we've seen a few pictures of Kate when she was in college that wore this or that. Obviously, yes. When
But
I
that was in
promoted,
college.
just promote the right, exactly. But as Kate Middleton, as being the wife of Prince William and part of the royal family now, she has been, exemplary in her dress. And again, everything she wears, she's still attractive. You see what a gorgeous woman she is. You can tell that she has curves, that she has the shape, but nothing's tight. It's not seductive. It's not revealing something that shouldn't be shown. It's always super tasteful and very elegant to where you're really drawn into who she is now as a wife and as a mother, opposed to being so focused on her body, even though she's not hiding it and being ashamed of her body. I think she's the perfect example of using fabrics, patterns, and colors that are beautiful and in the styles that she wears them. It's super feminine. Yeah, I love everything she wears.
Yeah, so do I. I think it's beautiful. I love her shoes too. She has beautiful heels.
Hats, everything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so tell us about some projects that you've done for Regina Magazine. I really loved your photo shoot with the women wearing veils. That was lovely. And then you recently did a photo shoot for their Scotland issue. So could you talk a little bit about some of these projects you've done?
Yes, for Regina Magazine, we've done a few photo shoots. I did another one recently in San Diego, which we'll probably be using some of those in upcoming issues or even on just our, Regina Magazine social media. And those have been a lot of fun. The veil shoot in particular was especially fun because it was, it's like, okay, how can we present these veils in a way that's attractive? And I think part of it is just showing that, yes, when, people might have a bad view of a veil when they see somebody who looks frumpy and looks like, oh, I'm wearing this because I have to, because I'll go to hell if I don't kind of a mentality. It's like, there's nothing attractive about that. Right. But the way we did the shoot where you have beautiful young women who are dressed beautifully. It's stylish, it's modern, but they look great with their veils. And the veils, there's different colors so they can coordinate it with their outfits. It's traditional because, it's part of our patrimony, but it can still be applied and worn in the modern setting without being antiquated in a negative way. We have to be dressed in a time for our day, but in a way that is still, again, beautiful and feminine. And there's a lot of fashions out there, even from modern designers, even like Dolce & Gabbana or Alice Temperley. They have a lot of really beautiful items in each of their collections every year that are perfectly feminine and modest and beautiful. And those are the kinds of styles that women can imitate. They can buy pieces and kind of imitate those runway looks, and they'll be completely in vogue and still completely modest at the same time.
So where can people find you online?
Well, I have my Facebook page and then also my website, sequoiasierra.com, SEQUOIA, Sierra, SIERRA.com. And then from there, you can get to the Facebook page and the Instagram and all the other social media that I'm on.
Wonderful. Well, excellent discussion. I really look forward to seeing more of your work. Keep up the great work, and thanks so much for speaking with me today.
Thank you, Christine.
All right. You've been listening to Forward Boldly in collaboration with Regina Magazine. Remember that you can access all our archive shows at forwardboldly.com. Our podcasts are also aired at the Regina Magazine blog, found at blog.reginamag.com. Thank you for listening. And in the words of St. Joan of Arc, in God's name, forward boldly.
Thank you.